Welcome back to Manga Storian's Complete Story series. Today we're going to be covering more Berserk, picking up where we left off with chapter 308. In our last video, we watched as Griffith led his army in the final attack against Emperor Ganishka for control over Windham Castle. Just as the Skull Knight appeared to stop Griffith managed to redirect the attack from the Sword of Acution and ended up creating a portal to the astral world. As that portal began to spread, it brought forth a new world, and with it, Griffith's new kingdom, Falconia. It was the dead of night as one of Bonebeard's scouts looked out into the ocean in search of any nearby ships for them to attack. But as the scout called out that there was not a ship in sight, another crewman asked if it's really a good idea. They've already lost 3 ships and they're low on food. At this rate, they'll soon be facing a mutiny. Bonebeard turns back, shoving his crutch into the crewman's mouth, stating that if these men want to do that, then they'll end up as bait for the sharks. That way they'll be killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Arr! We be pirates. It is time to start acting like it. That blasted fancy man from Wise is the one to blame for all of this. The crewman says that that's not it at all. Recently, there was a strange rumor on deck ever since the wind blew past them. Bonebeard tells him, "You're it to be true. For as long as I've been sailing, that's the first me ears heard such a thing. Like something was breezing through the inside of my body." The crewman goes on telling him, ever since then, the crew has spoken of sightings of their dead shipmates walking around the ship. Also, there's been these things crossing the surface of the sea. Rumors like that have gotten everyone scared in their boots. And Bonebeard shouts, "Listen up, ye scallywags! It's been 25 years since I took up the pirate's life, and I'm as lively as you could ever see. If all of these superstitions are true, I'd be the first one to be haunted, wouldn't ye say?" But just as he says that, the spirits begin to raise up from behind him and surround the men. The next morning, the bird soars through the air until it sees Roderick's ship sailing throughout the sea. As it perches down on one of the open windows, it hears a voice telling everyone to cut it down already. The bird looks at where the voice came from and he sees Ishidoro and Puck drawing on Shirkei as she sleeps. The bird quickly flies over and starts pecking on Ishidoro and Puck's heads, and then flies over to Shirkei. It pecks on her, causing her to open her eyes, and she screams out loud enough for the entire ship to hear her. Shirkei cracks her staff over the heads of Ishidoro and Puck, asking, "What is the meaning of this?" Puck tells her that the god of art has descended upon them. They couldn't help it. Through all of the shouting, the others come down to see if everything's okay, and Farnese asks what is it that she's wearing. Is this some new kind of ritual? Please teach it to her as well. Shirkei begins to wipe away the makeup and tells everyone never mind. There's something important that she wishes to discuss with everyone. But before she can speak, there's a strange sound, and Shirkei asks herself if it can really be true. Up on the deck, Roderick sees a ship in the distance heading towards them, and says that there is no mistaking it. It's the surviving ship from those pirates. Something is amiss though. They are mostly destroyed by the Seahorse. Are they attempting to come back? Roderick then orders his men to get to their battle stations, and once the ship is within range, they will open fire. As everyone opens up on the decks, Roderick tells them that all they need to do is go back down below. They are currently in the middle of an engagement. Shirkei says actually that's what she wanted to talk to them about. That ship causing this, it's devoid of any living people. Something strange happened when the wind blew by them, and it's not just for them, but everyone around them. Roderick tells his crewmen to prepare to fire, and once the pirate gets close, all of the cannons open fire. They shoot through the air, and just as they get closer to the pirate ship dives underwater. Everyone asks what just happened, and Roderick says that thing is definitely not manned by normal people. It's just like those legends of ghost ships. And depending on the circumstances, the guest in the cabin below may have a chance to come out. In that cabin below, Guts begins to feel his brand bleeding, and he grabs his fake arm and he locks it in place. Back topside, the pirate ship resurfaces, crashing into the Seahorse, wedging itself along the ship. Roderick tells everyone to prepare for close quarters combat, and the sailors all begin to arm themselves with swords, preparing for the pirates to board. As the sailors wait, a few moments pass with nothing happening, and Roderick asks why they haven't attacked yet. Shirkei begins to focus on the pirate ship, and she says that she can fear them. There's an evil ode, as if the ship itself is a monster of sorts, and then a crackling laughter can be heard, and a voice tells Shirkei, "Ye are a sharp lass." Everyone looks up to see Bonebeard and his men, their skin being a fleshy texture and having the eyes of an octopus. Bonebeard calls out, "We have not been properly introduced yet, Roderick. He's the Prince of the Seas. We are the Bad Skull Pirates. Pleasure to make your acquaintance." Ishidoro stares for a moment and says, "Hey, I remember that guy from the harbor." Azan asks if that's the pirates that he sunk and drowned. He's all talk, I tell you. As Bonebeard realizes it's the same people from the harbor, he nervously chews on the rails. "Of all the people for me to meet, why is it them? That's That's enough! We all quit being human. It's time to show you what we can do now. Suddenly, sprouts of water begin to shoot up in the sides of the ships, and several tendrils spring out, all with sharp teeth and the same octopus-like eyes. Ishidora shouts, "Damn, the sea is awesome!" I kinda thought that we would run into this guy again, but these creatures are amazing. Bonebeard begins to laugh, telling everyone that the pirate and the monsters get along just fine. We also became mates that covered the same prey. Just then, one of the tendril creatures slams down onto the deck of the seahorse, grabbing one of the crewmen. As its claws fold back, it pushes the man into its mouth and it begins to eat him for all to see. Roderick's crew begins to panic and Bonebeard shouts, "That's right, boys! Dig in!" More of the creatures begin to pick up the crewmen and the morale quickly begins to drop. Roderick tells everyone to be calm and that those who can fight must do so, but that's when the sounds of heavy footsteps can be heard as Guts begins to crack his neck. Bonebeard yells, "That's right, me boys! Get your fill so we can be fit to work! This food will give us the strength!" However, just as he says that, the heads of many of the creatures are cut off and Bonebeard asks, "What is the meaning of this?" More heads begin to fall and Guts says, "I understand what you mean, but if you want to be at peak performance, you gotta have strength." As he steps down onto one of the creature's heads, he goes on stating, "Nothing gets your strength back like some good food, and I'm sure I'm hungry. So tell me, are these things edible or not?" The other creatures begin to roar at Guts, and as they begin to come down, Guts pulls out his sword and swings it over his shoulder. As he jumps into the air, he cuts through 3 more of the creatures just before they can grab more of the crewmen. And more of the creatures begin to swarm down, and after another heavy swing, Guts lodges his sword right above one of the crewmen's heads and into the ship. He tells them, "I'm sorry about that. That was a little closer than I thought it should be. I'm still a little tired, but I shouldn't have any problem taking out the whole ship." Bonebeard shouts, asking, "Who is that? And why is his sword so big?" Guts tells the other crewmen, "If you don't want to die, you better get down." And with that, Guts readies himself, running through, tearing another set of creatures apart. Everyone begins to cheer Guts on, and as Bonebeard watches, he shouts, "That's it! You are going to be our supper, but now you're going to be scrubbing the decks, yar! If it's dinner you want, then the main dish is coming right up." Suddenly, there's a shift in the water, and the source of the tendril surface is lashing out as it gets free. Bonebeard begins to laugh, telling everyone, "You all just got confused by the beard of this old beastie, though I don't take very kindly to having it trimmed." As the giant creature lunges to eat Guts, Guts holds out his hand cannon, firing a blast through the monster's head. Then, using the momentum of the blast, he swings around with his sword, ripping through the center of the monster's face. As it falls into the water, he lands onto the deck with everyone staring in awe at what they just witnessed. He lifts his sword up, looking at the blade, stating that it looks like the salty air didn't rust the blade. Bonebeard then nervously says, "That's not all we have! We still have!" But Guts stops him, telling him, "It's too late. These guys know all about naval combat as well." And that's when the undercannons are all moved into position. Roderick tells Guts, "I have to thank you for giving me time to prepare these things. Now all lower decks, fire!" And that concludes where we're going to be leaving off this week. Don't forget to subscribe to get your weekly dose of Berserk up until we catch up and turn it into a every other week or monthly series. But either way, I hope you guys are enjoying, and I will see you next time right here.